Outrun, Sega's legendary arcade racing classic, a game of massive arcade cabinets, which always drew people's attention, clear blue skies, the beach, exotic scenery, and incredibly sexy Ferrari Testarossas. Or at least they were incredibly sexy if you were a young or teenage boy back in the 80s like myself. Now, running on Sega's System 16 hardware, this was a sprite scaling powerhouse of a game, which threw sprites and scenery around at speeds pretty much never seen before and very rarely seen in other racing games of this type since. However, with its popularity, Outrun was always destined to end up on Sega's home machines, and so it was with a Mega Drive version and not one but two different Master System versions, although we're only looking at one today because the version with the 3D glasses doesn't display properly. So, in today's Battle of the Bits, we're going to look at the Sega Mega Drive or Genesis version of Outrun and the Sega Master System version and ask which is the better conversion when you take into account everything to do with the machines. So, without further ado, let's crack on with the first version of Outrun. So here we have the 16-bit version for the Mega Drive. As you can see, you get to choose your tunes and you're out on the track. And to be fair, given the difference in power between the System 16 arcade hardware and the Mega Drive and the similarities involved, it doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it's not quite arcade perfect, but trust me, this was as close as it was getting at the time, and it does move at a fair pace. Yes, it's a little bit jerky in its scaling, and yes, it doesn't quite have the amount of detail surrounding the track that the arcade version did, but come on, if you've ever played any of the other versions of Outrun that have been released up to this point, you know exactly what this was compared to them, and that was superb. If you take the 8-bit home computer versions or even the 16-bit computers like the Amiga and ST, which had notoriously awful versions of Outrun, this game is absolutely superlative in comparison. And it handles quite well also. You know, it plays a good game of Outrun, and that's what's important really, is does it play right? And the answer is yes. Outrun for the Mega Drive plays right. It's a damn good conversion of a damn good game. But, as you'll see, there is another Sega version to come. And here we have the Master System version. Now, obviously, the difference in power between the arcade hardware and Sega's 8-bit home console was quite significant. You're going from twin Motorola 68,000 CPUs to a single Z80 CPU. However, it manages it really well, all things considered. Yes, there's a huge amount of detail missing from the track side, and the track layout is slightly different there at the start, but you know what? It moves really well, and it plays pretty well. Yes, the audio can be a bit grating. That is generally an issue with the Master System unless it's one of the very rare games that use the FM sound, and even they were only available in Japan. But, you know, with the limitations of the machine, with its colour palette, with the amount of RAM it has, the power of the CPU, this is a damn fine version of Outrun. It plays pretty well also, you know, and it is recognisably Outrun. Everything that you would expect from Outrun to be there is there. The blue sky, the bright red Ferrari, the palm trees, the sand, the sea. This is Outrun. And it's a damn fine version. It's easily the best of the 8-bit versions by a country mile. But is it as good a conversion as the Mega Drive one? Well, I would argue yes. especially given the limitations of the machine. This is far, far better than it has any right to be. The Master System was not a powerful console by any definition, even by the standards of the time for an 8-bit machine. Despite having some great graphics, it wasn't hugely powerful using a standard Z8, but this is an amazing version of the game for a console that shouldn't have been running it this well. So, which is the better version of Outrun? Well, if I'm going to be completely honest, I am actually going to award this one to the Master System. The arcade machine that Outrun came from the hardware, it shouldn't have been possible to do the game as well as Sega managed to do on the Master System. The gulf in power was immense, yet there is a really good, recognisable and perfectly playable version of the game for owners of Sega's 8-bit hardware to enjoy. Now, that isn't to say that the Mega Drive version is bad, far from it, it's just much less of an impressive technical achievement than the Master System version is. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Outrun for Battle of the Bits between Sega's 8 and 16-bit machines. Why don't you tell me what you think in the comments down below? If you've enjoyed this video, hit like. If you really enjoyed it, hit subscribe. And this is Rob saying so long, and I will see you on the next video.